You're listening to the podcast My Story, My Song with host Nathan Maack. On today's episode, you'll hear Nathan tell you another compelling story about the writer of the song and what inspired the song to be written. You'll also hear a great arrangement of the song by Nathan or one of his friends. And now, let's go to Nathan Maack for today's story.
The year was 1945. The war had just ended, and thousands of soldiers were on their way home from the battlefields overseas. It was a time of celebration in America. The good side won. But just like any war, there were so many soldiers who never made it home alive. The bodies not buried in Europe were shipped home in caskets for all to see. The Reverend Gene Martin was holding a summer evangelical service in Dallas when these mixed emotions could be seen across the faces of families not only who had been reunited with their heroes, but the many families who had to march on with just memories of their loved ones. Among the attendees at the service was a well-known gospel music songwriter, Ira Stanphill. During the meeting, a man stood to testify about his business and how hard it was to maintain during the Great Depression. He spoke of having to downsize, wondering if he would eventually have to shut down and close for good. The man took a drive one day to clear his head and came upon a dirt trail that was too small to turn his car around on. So he continued to the end of the trail and came to an old beaten-down shack. He could see that no one would be able to live in such a place. But as he opened his car door, a young girl came running out with a big smile on her face. She was carrying a broken doll. He asked her how anyone could live in such conditions. She responded that her dad was one day going to build a new house up over the hillside, and she became so excited. Her child trust and optimism for life gave this man the faith to continue running his shop. He never gave up, and although it took a long time, the customers and income finally came back. Ira loved this man's testimony, and after leaving the service, he went to write. And in one sitting, he wrote Mansion Over the Hilltop, a song about the faith we must have that things will always turn out better in the end, and the optimism of what we have to look forward to. Here is Mansion Over the Hilltop.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of My Story, My Song with host Nathan Maack. Please remember to subscribe to this podcast on the app you use to hear all of the latest stories and music. And check out Nathan's website at www.nathanmaack.com to keep up with all of Nathan's music ministries, including other web shows, his email newsletter, tour schedule, and much more. Until next time, thank you again for listening to My Story, My Song.